Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Weather with Sim forecast. And in today's forecast, we are going to be talking about another huge storm that's going to be coming to the United States as we get into next week. And this is going to bring a lot of impacts, as not only could the storm bring another threat for significant severe weather across the mid-Mississippi Valley all the way back down there into Dixie Alley, but we could also be seeing the potential for more high winds, and we will also need to watch for the potential of some snowfall, especially on the northern side of the system, and then maybe even a little bit of a flood threat also developing with the system depending on how heavy the rain gets. But the main concern with the system does look to be the potential for severe weather, which we will go over all that in today's forecast. But let's first start off by going over what we are seeing across the United States as of right now. And you guys can see how we do have a couple areas of red flag warnings, one of which is across the central and northern plains. We got another area over here across the mid-Mississippi Valley, especially across southern and central Missouri, northern Arkansas, and as well as portions of southeast Kansas. But even down here along the Gulf Coast, we even got elevated fire conditions down there towards southeast Texas, southern Louisiana, and as well as southern Mississippi. And then we also got another area down there towards eastern Florida that is also seeing the threat of elevated fire weather conditions. So if you do live in one of these red flag warning areas, which another one does also include parts of Colorado back over there into New Mexico, and as well as the panhandle of Texas, please do not burn, as this could be a really bad situation for some of these areas. And we will talk about why in just a second, but we could really be seeing those chances for wildfires really start to pick up over the next couple of days. So make sure you are not burning out there, as this could be really bad, especially if a fire starts going. So I certainly do not recommend burning out there at all. Now, let's talk about why we are seeing the big wildfires around before we really talk about this big storm. If we start off by going over the wildfire outlook by looking at how big of a fire risk we have, you guys can see that the fire risk is actually pretty high, especially over here across eastern parts there of Florida, where we do have a critical fire risk for wildfires today and as well as into tomorrow. But even over here towards places like New Mexico, parts of the panhandle of Texas, extreme western Oklahoma, and as well as parts there of southern Colorado could all be seeing wildfires today, as there will still be a pretty good shot of even seeing those wildfires as we get into tomorrow. It doesn't look like Florida will see as big of a fire threat as we get into tomorrow, but areas over here in central Texas will likely see some pretty bad wildfire conditions as we get into tomorrow. And of course that even extends all the way up there towards St. Louis, Missouri, where we could also be seeing some elevated wildfires conditions. So like I said, if you live in a critical fire weather risk, if you're under a red flag warning, or if you even live in an elevated fire risk, you're still not going to want to burn, as like I said, any fires that really get going could really cause some major issues out there. So I certainly don't recommend doing that, as this could potentially be another big wildfire outbreak depending on how many fires get started. But let's now talk about the storm system, which is the main thing we were really wanting to talk about, as this storm could really cause some big impacts. You guys can see that by the time we get into the beginning of next week, we will be seeing chances for heavy snowfall on the northern side of the system, as we will have some cold air trying to get on down there. But even these areas south of Illinois, so places like the mid-Mississippi Valley all the way back down there into Arkansas, will all have chances of strong to severe thunderstorms. Now keep in mind that even these areas up here in the lower Ohio Valley and Tennessee River Valleys, you guys may still see a few strong to severe thunderstorms, but I expect the worst of it to be down here in Arkansas and as well as the deep south, as I do think the those areas will have the highest amount of energy, and you guys can see that that energy will indeed be the highest rate in that area that I just circled a moment ago, which will be across this area right here. But like I said, even a few stronger storms still can't be rolled out even up here into the Ohio and Tennessee River valleys. We just don't expect those storms to be as severe. And then after that storm system heads out, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that as we get into April, this is when I really think we will see those chances for severe weather really start to pop up, since April is pretty much our most active severe weather month of the season. So that just goes to show you that as we get into April, we will more than likely see those chances for severe weather to start picking up. So make sure to be on high alert out there as we get into April. But like I said, even the storm system that we're going to be seeing at the beginning of next week could even bring some pretty good severe weather. Look at this. We already have a day 4 slight risk for severe weather across the deep south all the way up here into the Tennessee River Valley that could see some strong to severe thunderstorms. And like I said, we still could see some stronger thunderstorms even up here across the Ohio and Tennessee River Valleys. But I think if we did see an upgrade, it would be right in this area right here, where we would more than likely be seeing the highest chances for severe weather. Now keep in mind that things could still change as we are still heading about 4 days out from now, but since we are starting to get a little bit closer, this is becoming a little bit more concerning, since things are already starting to look a little rough on the models, especially down here towards Arkansas and even the Arklatex region. So make sure you guys are all being on high alert out there, as I do expect this storm to really start ramping up. And of course those rainfall totals will also be pretty high as well, which like I said, we could also see a threat for some flash flooding down here in the deep south as well. Maybe not an elevated threat for flash flooding, but definitely a risk, so you guys still need to be paying attention, as there could be some isolated areas of floodwaters. And then as we get into day 5, which will be after the severe weather event, I do expect that to continue even across the panhandle of Florida, but won't be nearly as bad as what we're expecting as we get into Sunday, which will be the beginning of next week. Now the last thing I want to look at is going to be our total snowfall and also our winds, just to show you guys that this storm could really pack a big punch. Our next storm, like I said, will be coming on Sunday, which will be at the beginning of next week, and we're looking all the way out to Tuesday of next week, where we could potentially be seeing widespread amounts of a couple inches, with even higher amounts, especially up there in Minnesota and Wisconsin, potentially getting over a foot. But even with those winds, look how high those winds are, guys. Look at that. We could be seeing winds gusting potentially over 40 miles per hour up here across Minnesota, Wisconsin, even over there into Michigan. Maybe not as bad as what we were seeing, over the past few days, but certainly something to really be keeping an eye on closely, as I do expect even more winds to roll on through as we get into the future. But for right now, this will be the storm to keep an eye on, as even blizzard conditions could be possible. So make sure you guys are all being on high alert out there, as this storm will also bring some major blizzard conditions. And like I said, of course, flooding will also be a concern with the system too, as well, as 1 to 3 inches of rainfall will be possible. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we are here to keep you all safe and prepared before and after big storms roll on through. And another thing I recommend doing is turning on all notifications, as we will be here on this channel to go live for any big severe weather events that roll on through the United States. So consider subscribing to this channel, liking today's video, and also leaving any comments that you guys have down in the chat. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys also want to go check out my merchandise, feel free to go check that out by clicking the link down below in the description, as we sell things anywhere from shirts, hoodies, mugs. We even sell iPhone cases. Make sure to go check it out by clicking the link down in the description below. And it also really does help support the channel out out a lot, so feel free to go check that out. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Thursday out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.